What happens to a man's soul when he finally stops running from himself? Before we begin, here's a shocking question. Did you know that despite unprecedented achievements in technology, wealth, and social status, over 70% of men report feeling emotionally disconnected or lost at some point in their lives? What if the source of this crisis isn't outside success, but a profound neglect of the inner self? If you find this fascinating, don't forget to hit the like button, share this video with your friends, subscribe for more deep dives, and drop your thoughts in the comments below about your own journey with self-awareness. Introduction: the silent epidemic of modern manhood. Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of truth, wanderers of this strange, twisting path we call life, consider these words from a 92-year-old woman whose eyes have witnessed nearly a century of human triumphs and tragedies. She said, "Most men know how to build a house, but few know how to sit alone in one. Let that settle." This simple yet profound observation cuts to the heart of a silent epidemic plaguing modern men. Mastery of the outer world without mastery of the inner world. Today we live in a culture that worships achievement, status, power, wealth, yet often neglects the most vital terrain of all, the self. What really happens when a man stops running, stops performing, and finally turns inward? How does this journey shape his soul, his relationships, and ultimately his capacity for love? This is not just philosophy. It's science, psychology, and lived experience converging on a radical truth. The path to true power and peace begins within. Before diving into this journey, if you resonate with this exploration of the inner life, please like, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps bring these important conversations to light. Part 1. The outer world versus the inner void, 0 to 5 years of neglect. What happens when a man prioritizes external success over inner truth? From a young age, many men are taught that strength means control, emotional detachment, and unyielding ambition. The world rewards those who win, climb the ladder, conquer challenges, gather trophies. Yet studies from the American Psychological Association reveal that men are significantly less likely to seek help for emotional issues and suffer higher rates of loneliness and depression compared to women. Real-life example. Think of John, a successful executive in his late 30s who outwardly seems to have it all: money, status, a family. But he confesses to feeling hollow, disconnected from his wife and children, struggling to sleep at night. His relentless focus on work left little room for self-reflection or emotional connection. This neglect builds a creeping void. Without self-awareness, men become prisoners of unconscious patterns, reacting out of childhood wounds, repeating harmful cycles, unable to name or face their fears. Science-backed insight. Neuroscientific research shows that prolonged stress and emotional suppression shrink the prefrontal cortex, the brain's center for self-regulation and empathy, while activating the amygdala, the fear and aggression center. This imbalance contributes to impulsivity, irritability, and emotional numbness. Call to action. If you or someone you know struggles with this invisible inner emptiness, drop a comment below. How do you think society's definition of masculinity affects mental health? Like and share if you believe we need to redefine strength. Part 2. The courage to turn inward, 5 to 10 years into the journey. What happens when a man decides to stop running and starts looking inward? Self-awareness is not a comfortable process. It demands courage to face one's motives, wounds, and contradictions without the comforting shield of ego. The ego thrives on certainty and control. It resists introspection because it threatens to unravel its carefully built identity. Personal reflection. I have observed that this turning inward often begins not with grand epiphanies, but with small acts of stillness. A moment alone in silence, a journal entry, a conversation with a trusted friend or therapist. The power of stillness. Stillness is often misunderstood as laziness or passivity, but it is a radical act of attention and presence. Studies in mindfulness meditation show that regular practice strengthens areas of the brain related to emotional regulation and reduces activity in the default mode network, the neural basis of rumination and self-judgment. In stillness, the masks drop, the defenses come down. The man confronts fears, long-buried grief, and unspoken desires. This process is chaotic and non-linear, but essential for transformation. If you're intrigued by the idea of cultivating stillness, share your favorite ways to pause in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content on inner growth. Part 3. The hidden power of vulnerability. 10 to 15 years. What happens when a man chooses vulnerability over performance? In a culture that prizes stoicism, vulnerability is often mistaken for weakness. But as Brené Brown's groundbreaking research has shown, vulnerability is the birthplace of courage, creativity, and deep connection. Real love demands authenticity, the willingness to be seen fully, flaws and all. Yet many men enter relationships armored with roles learned in childhood: protector, provider, problem solver, but rarely the open-hearted lover. Scientific evidence: oxytocin, often called the love hormone, facilitates trust and bonding, but is released only when emotional safety and openness exist. Performance and emotional armor block this release, creating distance instead of intimacy. A real story. Mark, a man in his 40s, shared how therapy helped him drop his strong man act. For the first time, he expressed fears and vulnerabilities to his partner. Though terrifying at first, this honesty deepened their relationship profoundly. Are you ready to be more vulnerable? What fears hold you back? Comment below, hit like, and share this video to help dismantle toxic masculinity myths. Part 4. Embracing emotional depth. The true strength, 15 to 20 years. What happens when a man embraces his emotional complexity instead of denying it? Traditional masculinity often promotes emotional suppression as strength, but this brittle version cannot withstand real-life storms. Emotional depth is resilience, the capacity to feel pain, grief, joy, and fear, and to stand firm through them. Psychologist Carl Jung emphasized that wholeness arises from integrating all parts of the self, including the shadow, the aspects rejected or denied. Denial leads to fragmentation and numbness, often expressed through unhealthy outlets like aggression, addiction, or perfectionism. Neuroscience backs this. Emotional intelligence correlates with higher activity in the prefrontal cortex and better social outcomes. Men with higher emotional awareness tend to form more satisfying relationships and have better mental health. What emotions do you find hardest to face? How can we cultivate emotional resilience? Comment your thoughts and experiences, like and subscribe for more. Part 5. Healing the inner child, 20+ years. The path to authenticity. What happens when a man reconnects with the child he once was? Beneath every adult man lies an inner child, carrying wounds, unmet needs, and pure desires. Many men are taught to grow up by abandoning this part of themselves, creating a painful split between their emotional world and societal expectations. Healing the inner child is not regression, but integration, offering compassion and protection to the self that was once vulnerable and unheard. Psychotherapist John Bradshaw coined this as reparenting the inner child, a process that leads to profound healing and authentic living. A practical example: therapeutic techniques like inner child work, EMDR, and somatic experiencing help men access and heal early trauma, often unlocking creativity, spontaneity, and deeper self-love. Call to action. Have you ever tried inner child healing? Share your story or ask questions below. Like and share this video if you believe healing is the path to true masculinity. Conclusion: true power lies within, the journey of becoming whole. What happens to a man who stops running, stops performing, and finally embraces himself fully? He becomes whole, not perfect, but authentic, not dominant, but compassionate, not disconnected, but deeply present. This journey requires stillness, vulnerability, emotional depth, and healing. It challenges societal myths of masculinity and offers a new paradigm, where success is measured not by applause or possessions, but by inner peace and love. As the 92-year-old woman wisely said, "Knowing how to sit alone in your house, your soul, is the greatest mastery of all." This mastery is not weakness, but the most profound strength. If this message resonates, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps bring these essential conversations into the light. Comment below your thoughts on what true strength means to you.